Timelines are converging at a rapid pace since the solstice. We've been experiencing a massive convergence of timelines. Multiple timelines have begun folding in on one another. Some are merging, while others are dissolving entirely. They don't disappear quietly, though. They carry emotional residue with them. People from the past resurface in our minds. Old memories unexpectedly rise to the surface. Pain that once felt fully processed suddenly asks to be acknowledged. Places we once lived, relationships we've moved past, dreams we never realized, even versions of ourselves we thought we'd left behind, all seem to be emerging at once. Every timeline, even those that ultimately dissolve, has shaped us. The emotions and the lessons were real, even if we weren't consciously aware of them. Many people ask me what the purpose of multiple timelines is. The simplest way to explain it is to imagine earning a 4-year degree, but instead of taking 4 years, you complete it in just one. While you consciously live through one timeline, other aspects of yourself simultaneously experience others. Each timeline carries its own lessons, experiences, and emotional understandings. Then graduation arrives. Everything converges. The learning integrates, the emotional wisdom combines, and what was gained across all those periods becomes available to you. I believe this is where we are now. The convergence is happening. As these timelines fold in on themselves, they bring with them the emotional imprints and teachings they held. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming. It's important to understand that it's not always the memories themselves that fold in. It's the emotions attached to them. One side effect is that all of this has made people's minds incredibly noisy. The mind constantly thinks, replays conversations, revisits decisions, and wonders if something was missed, if the wrong path was taken, or if somehow we should be further along than we are. A quiet disappointment can set in, not just toward ourselves, but toward the entire process. The dream state is also intense right now. Many are processing an incredible amount of information while trying to get a good night's sleep. The truth is, the mind struggles to manage the fragmentation of timelines. It tries to bridge the gap between what our conscious mind remembers and what we feel on an emotional level. It searches and searches, and when it finds no memory to match, it creates a story. Every experience we've ever had served a purpose. Even the timelines that are now dissolving taught us something about ourselves. They revealed our hopes, our fears, our joys, our attachments, and where, without realizing it, we had given away our power. The mind tends to analyze every thought, determine its origin, and construct a story to explain why we feel certain emotions. But the story isn't the important part, the emotion is. As these timelines continue to merge, do your best not to get caught up in the need to figure out which timeline an emotion is coming from. Instead, focus on the core emotion itself. Is it grief? Disappointment? Fear? Relief? Excitement? Allow yourself to feel it before your mind rushes in to explain it. We don't need to relive every memory or understand every timeline as it dissolves. We only need to allow what surfaces to flow through us, rather than letting it become another identity, another belief, or another story about who we are. The more we can stay with the emotion without immediately needing an explanation, the more easily it can complete its journey through us. Not everything that surfaces asks to be understood. Sometimes it simply asks to be felt. When we stop trying to understand everything, we create the space our system needs to complete the integration that is already underway. Other side effects of timeline convergence can include losing objects, losing track of time, conversations, emails, messages, and so on. Another side effect can be accidents. Several people have told me about seeing a car appear out of nowhere and narrowly avoiding a collision. Please stay present and aware as we move through this incredible time. Life Tapestry Creations. Disarm your 3D self, dearest ones. You likely want reassurance that what we of the universes prophesy about reality is not born of imagination. We discuss, transmit, and even promote activities that seem too good to be true. Your three-dimensional reality is that these dreams never fully materialize, or often, even partially. So you hesitate to believe that your life could ever be one of peace and joy, that you could ever free yourself from your fears about what's to come, or that you could trust people and their promises. Your daily activities are more focused on keeping those fears at bay than on building a new life of joy. You're tired of promises because concrete promises have rarely come true. Your memories are mostly tied to the hope of reaching that finish line, until trauma erases your hopes or diminishes your joy to the point where you doubt that a happy life could ever become a reality. You claim to allow joy into your life, but your reality consists of sporadic moments of joy rather than a continuous thread of peace and happiness. A bit like someone lost in the desert crawling toward an oasis, only to discover it was a mirage. Even though your trials in the desert are over, you still don't believe it. This week's transition phase isn't just about acknowledging those random moments of joy. It's also about creating joy from an activity that hasn't been joyful in the past. Shifting your perspective is the second step in the transition from being a three-dimensional being to becoming a creator of a new you. It's time to create something, and this week, that something is a pleasant interaction during an activity that would typically be unpleasant. You may be wondering how it's possible to create something pleasant from an activity you expect to be unpleasant. We of the universe reiterate that it's time to look at your life with fresh eyes. What have you missed in similar interactions in the past? What would you have wished to happen? How, if possible, do you want to change your interactions, the setting, the project's outcome, your inner feelings, and so on? What have you done in the past that created an unpleasant interaction, and what would you like to experience now? Finally, what can you do to change that experience, by interacting differently or by stepping away from that situation and similar ones? There is no right answer, except to transform fear into peace and joy through different thoughts, words, or actions. You no longer have to suffer or grow angry repeatedly over certain situations. You have the power and freedom to change the direction of any dynamic, by acting from within or by physically removing yourself from the situation. You are not a prisoner of pain. You are a new being with the ability to create the life you want, rather than the life you expected or feel obligated to live. New world, new you, new rules. Rule number 1 is to discover what brings you joy and peace. And the first step is to follow what your inner being tells you, because that's the simplest way to find peace in any situation. Like learning to ride a bicycle, learning to listen to, and then follow. Your inner voice takes practice, at least in this lifetime. In the future lives you'll have on Earth, such devoted effort to listening to your inner voice won't be necessary. Like riding a bike after years of inactivity, just a few minutes of practice will bring your memory back to its former ease. What do you want to do this week to begin your new life? And what steps do you intend to take to bring that thought, action, or gesture to life? Even though it appears to be a simple process, it's actually more complicated than it seems, because it will require quieting your rational, logical mind and flying into the world with that often soft voice that tells you what would make you happy. This week's transition phase is as simple as it is complex. In a way, this is new software, much easier to master than the 3D logic you've always relied on, which required plenty of fear, lists of pros and cons, and the opinions and fears of others. Even then, there was never any guarantee that what you chose after all those lengthy 3D procedures would give you the satisfaction you wanted. In this new world, your gentle inner voice will inform you of what you need and want, without worrying about what you should need or should want. The freedom to be is possible only when you allow yourself to disarm the 3D constraints under which you've operated throughout your 3D lives on Earth. New world, new you, and new peace. So be it. Amen. Activation of the 12 fifth-dimensional crystalline solar DNA Strands. The company of heaven has been encouraging us for decades to pay attention because, as they say, cosmic moments come and go. What they mean is that countless events occur throughout the universe that cause vibrational shifts, celestial alignments, and cycles within cycles within cycles, all of which vastly amplify the frequencies of divine light available for humanity's individual and collective evolutionary process. These incredible opportunities arise regularly during lunar cycles, solar cycles, eclipses, solstices, equinoxes, and planetary alignments. They also occur when we experience galactic solar waves, plasma solar flares, solar winds, photonic light flows, solar radiation, magnetic fields, sound pulses, and various other cosmic events. Even though these events offer the opportunity for an immense influx of divine light onto Earth, if you, and the rest of awakening humanity do not voluntarily offer ourselves as the open door for this light, on behalf of ourselves, humanity, and all life on Mother Earth, that divine light will not be tangibly available in the physical world of this planet. The company of heaven is revealing that. Right now, Earth and humanity are receiving unprecedented assistance from the solar light codes flooding the Earth from the solar logos in the Earth lineage. This powerful divine intervention has intensified over the past few months in the form of solar flares and extremely powerful shifts in Earth's magnetic field. This has opened portals in Earth's magnetic field that are allowing us to activate higher codes in our 12 fifth-dimensional crystalline solar DNA strands than we have ever been able to integrate before. Magnetic fluctuations of this nature alter our personal energy field and drastically affect our mental body and physical brain structure. When our magnetic field shifts in this way, outdated crystallized patterns are shattered. The remaining residue of what is recorded in our etheric body is pushed to the surface to be purified. This allows our I Am presence and our elemental body to remove any remaining blocks that have prevented us from progressing in the light. This divine intervention from the powerful Elohim and the solar logos is recalibrating our spiritual brain centers to new levels. This celestial event, and the light activities that the Company of Heaven has guided us through so far in 2026 are allowing our I Am presence to calibrate the right and left hemispheres of our brain to a higher level than we have previously experienced. This is enabling the healing of remaining fragmented pathways within our physical brain structures, and in many cases, their restoration to original potential. As these pathways are rewired, our spiritual brain centers, comprised of the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus glands, as well as the ganglionic centers at the base of the brain, reach their full divine potential. This allows our I Am presence to activate our 12 fifth-dimensional crystalline solar DNA strands to new levels. Today, the Company of Heaven has asked us to share with you a sacred geometry activation video that our friend Leon Van Kraenberg and his son Mason were guided to co-create for the 37th Annual World Congress on Illumination. The powerful Elohim have recalibrated this DNA activation to new levels. This has been possible because all of us can now withstand much higher frequencies of light. To experience this wonderful sacred geometry DNA activation, click the link below after reading Leon's instructions. Dear brothers and sisters, this video is described as 64 sequential activation of 12 fifth-dimensional crystalline solar DNA strands. To prepare for viewing the sequential activations of your 12 fifth-dimensional crystalline solar DNA strands, it is important that you set aside 18 minutes of uninterrupted time in a quiet environment. Sit with your back straight, legs and arms uncrossed, and feet flat on the floor. Rest your wrists and hands, one on each thigh, palms facing upward. It is essential to feel centered, to feel your I Am presence, one with the infinite divine presence. Focus your attention on your heart center and breathe deeply and slowly into your heart center, invoking the following. With every breath I take, I breathe the complete and whole breath of life of the Almighty Father Mother God that envelopes everything, nourishing my soul and fueling my body in an eternal flow of life. I am that I am. Allow yourself to receive these magnificent fifth-dimensional DNA activations, a gift granted to all of us for our highest good and the most benevolent outcome for all of humanity. The higher beings have also given further instructions to those who will receive the link to these activations. Once you have watched the video, you may share the link you received with others. Please also give those with whom you share the link the same opportunity to share it further. Archangel Michael and Sanat Kumara. Unity Consciousness, good morning, beloved Archangel Michael and beloved Sanat Kumara. I am deeply grateful for your presence in my life and for your unconditional, loving protection. I am ready to listen. I am ready to understand. I am ready to receive. I am available to receive. AA Michael and Sanat Kumara. Dear one, you are experiencing the turmoil that the collective is facing right now. As a pillar, a guide, a light bearer, a keeper of love, you experience what your fellow beings are experiencing. We want you to be perfectly aware that not everything you are experiencing is necessarily yours personally, though it is, since you are all one, and that you do not have to face it entirely alone. As part of the all, you feel whatever the whole feels. Understand this, and do not let it pull you away from your heart center or from your knowledge and understanding of unity consciousness. Welcome the emotions, bless them, and let them run their course. When they fade, send them back to source for recycling. Do not make these emotions solid. Do not make them concrete. Right now there is so much stuff to examine, bless, and send back home that if you allowed them to materialize, you would stop functioning. We come to you today to remind you to stay in your heart and focus on love. Allow what has arisen to surface and send it back to source with gratitude and love for the experience lived. After all, you, humanity, the collective, came to this planet to experience everything. You are all here to experience it, to live it, feel it, and then let it return to source with gratitude and love. Your distress tied to your monkey mind comes from this process. The myriad thoughts that intrude upon your daily life and your meditations are all experiences rising to be seen, felt, remembered, and released with gratitude and love. We are here today to remind you that you're doing a wonderful job and to tell you how much we love and admire you for your steady, unwavering presence. Live your day with joy and gratitude, for you are alive, awake, and aware of this enormous transition that Earth and all who are part of her are undergoing. Rejoice in being alive and in being consciously part of this miracle. We will never leave you. A. Michael and Sanat Kumara. Archangel Gabriel. Using passion and love to overcome fear, Rob. So this will be Archangel Gabriel continuing the last of the series of 6, which is using love and passion to overcome fear. So, every time I go to the 13th octave and find myself in my temple, when it's time to meet Gabriel, I always see her descending from above in a stream of golden light until she lands before me. Gabriel, the floor is yours. Do you have any words of wisdom to share? A. Gabriel. Greetings, Rob. Greetings to all of you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your group today. And of course, Rob, you've addressed this topic several times before, though perhaps not so much from the perspective of fear, so we'll cover that as well. But I'd like to begin by reminding everyone, that the keys to heaven, and from your perspective, the keys to self, begin and end with love. It is the greatest power in the universe, in the multiverse. Indeed, for all of creation, it is the energy behind creation itself, the love of Source, of God, of Mother Father One. It is the power that gives rise to everything, to all that exists. And the manifestation of that love is your connection to the love inherent within you, which gives rise to your passions, those things that matter most to you. And the more you immerse yourself in that love and accept it for what you are and who you are, the more the breadth of all the topics you're passionate about grows, until it encompasses, once again, everything that exists. So yes, the keys to infinity begin with love and end with love, because love animates everything. All the keys. Now, to address the topic of fear and how love overcomes it. It's true that the opposite of fear is love. It is the antidote to every form of fear, because in the presence of love, there is nothing to fear. Fear only manifests when you feel an absence of love. Most often an absence of love for yourself, meaning when you don't recognize the love that is within you, that ISU. You are an integral part of Mother Father One's creation, so you cannot be anything other than love, because that is the power, that is the energy that animates everything, all that we see. There is a curious expression, particularly in your Christian community, that speaks of being God-fearing. It's a curious expression, and in fact, I would say that if there are two words that don't belong in the same sentence, they are God and fear. God is love. Love is the opposite of fear. So how can there be anything fearful, anything related to fear, when speaking of God, who is the source of all that exists? The only time fear can creep into your thoughts, into your belief system, is when you deny the source of all that you are. When you connect with that source and feel the love, when you recognize that you are, in reality, that love, then there is nothing to fear, because nothing can touch you. Everything you see in the world that inspires fear comes from separation, from the belief that you are separate from that source. So again, love is the antidote to all the world's ills, because they all stem from your own beliefs, your limiting beliefs, your belief that there is a God who will punish you for every misdeed. I repeat, nothing could be further from the truth. God does not judge. The only one who judges you and your life is you, which, of course, stems from the belief that you are somehow separate from Source. This simply cannot be. It cannot be true. It is a false belief. Return to Source. There are so many of us here ready to help you, but the final decision is yours. God, Source, Mother Father One can never override your free will. Everything you experience in life is a result of your choice. So, why not choose love? Yeshua said it perfectly. Choose love in every circumstance, in every situation, and fear will disappear. Peace will return, and you will take your place in heaven. I trust this response clarifies the point you raised. I look forward to further discussion on this topic and on many other key aspects. With that said, I bid you farewell. May the blessing be with you all. Goodbye for now.